So OnePlus and OnePlus 15, big update that was pushed to devices. I could have sworn I just updated to this operating system literally just a couple of days ago. I was actually going to make a video about it, and I see this headline pop up saying that the latest Oxygen OS updates are pulled, meaning OnePlus issued them, whoop, and then they found an issue, a big issue, and scaled it back, meaning they pulled back the update, so it's not available. Who pulled a? It was Samsung. Oh yes, it was Samsung, about how stupid it was that they weren't releasing this update fix for the battery drain bug. They were saying how stupid it was that Samsung doesn't just release their updates immediately like Apple does, right? When there's an iOS update, boom, each and every iPhone that's eligible will get the update, and or if you check, it will say, hey, there's an update available. So Apple essentially issues their updates to hundreds of millions of iPhones at one time. Now there's pros and cons to each, but the reason why Android and or Android manufacturers essentially release their updates in a staggered release set, meaning instead of doing it like Apple, where once they release an update, everybody's eligible, Android manufacturers, and this obviously OnePlus, Samsung, Nothing, they all do staggered releases. So if they know that they have, let's say for the OnePlus 15, perfect example, we're going to talk about that. Let's say there are, for this model, what is it? The CPH 2749, I think, is the unlocked US model. Let's say there are 300. I'm just pulling a number. I have no clue of how many devices they sold, but let's just say 300,000 of them, right? So they'll do it by IMEI numbers as far as how they release their updates. So I'm just using this as an example. They'll essentially break it up into three sets. Maybe 100,000 will get the update over the next 3 days, and then the next 100,000 will get their updates over the next 3 days, and then the next 100,000 will get their updates over the next 3 days. They do that specifically because of this news story that we're talking about. There could be an issue with the update, and if there is, they immediately pull back and readjust that update and reissue it at a later time. And they do that on purpose, so not every single device or not a huge amount of people are affected by that update. You see what I'm saying? Because this latest version of OxygenOS, it's causing some devices to brick, meaning after you update it and it says restart your device, after you restart it, some devices were just going to the boot animation and getting stuck. It's like, what the hell's going on? So if you are one of those people, we'll see what you can do. Now, I have a little hint and or clue about what you can do, but this is exactly why they do this in staggered rollouts. Now, I get the frustration because on the other side, you have like Samsung, where this update, that battery drain update affected millions of people. I mean, it was pretty freaking bad. Again, I think it was the worst. It's the worst update I've had outside of a beta program where my phone wouldn't last but a few hours. I mean, I know there's a few people that have more than a few have commented saying the same thing. Like within a few hours, their phone is dead. And we're talking from a full charge. It's almost unbelievable how fast it just dies. So I get it on the other side of the street where you're like, well, this battery drain issue is so bad. Samsung needs to hurry, rush, and put a fix out. I get that. But the very last thing you want is them rushing this update and essentially bricking your phone. Because then you have a bigger issue on hand. And look, they're, for as much shit as we give these companies, especially Samsung, they're doing all they can, most they can as far as the developers. They work around the clock, right? To try to get these things solved. And sure, there's frustration, and sure, they don't want to admit when they're wrong sometimes, right? Because it would look bad on the company. But um, there's people working behind this, and we're gonna go to OnePlus's community post here, and and the lead developer for the Oxygen OS put out a statement that we're about to check out. But here's the update. So it says the latest OxygenOS update for OnePlus devices is on pause. And okay, so it is OxygenOS 1607 in version 1605. And if you have a OnePlus 15, let me know if you've received the update. Maybe you're, look, it would not break every single device that received this update. It was maybe, I don't know, 5%, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you think about it, 5% of 100,000 people is quite a few devices. You see what I'm saying? Let's see. It says some OnePlus users who installed the update on their phone ended up in a boot loop, basically turning their OnePlus handsets into paperweights. OnePlus seeks the root cause of the issue and is also working on a fix. Here are the phones affected. The statement from the OnePlus did not mention any specific models. OxygenOS 1607 was earmarked for the OnePlus 15 series. Okay, so that makes sense to me. So technically, I have not yet received the update because I'm on 1605 right now, but 1607 is specific to the OnePlus 15. The software was released in the United States and India. Models receiving OxygenOS 1605 update most likely include, okay, so 1607 was specifically for OnePlus 15, and then 1605 is for devices OnePlus 13, OnePlus 12, OnePlus 12R, OnePlus Nord 5, OnePlus Nord 4, OnePlus Nord CE5, OnePlus Nord CE4. So here's the statement. Rinky W, he's like a lead developer for OnePlus, who does a lot of community posts in their community forum. And if you have a OnePlus, just go to the OnePlus community app, and it's all right there. So here's what their lead developer says. We are aware that a small number of devices are experiencing abnormal restart and boot issues after updating to version 1607 and 1605. To ensure device stability and protect user experience, we have immediately paused the rollout of the above-mentioned builds while our engineering team investigates the root cause and prepares a fix. Our teams are actively working on this with the highest priority. Once the issue is fully resolved and the builds have been thoroughly validated for stability and reliability, the rollout will resume and further updates will be shared through our official channels. We sincerely apologize for the inconvenience and concern this has caused. We understand the impact this may have on affected users, and we are taking this matter extremely seriously. At this time, we are reviewing and strengthening our testing and quality assurance processes to help prevent similar situations in the future. Thank you for your patience, understanding, and continued trust. And as well as, look, this also proves the commitment that OnePlus has to current devices, because we all know they're pulling back from the world stage, but they are dedicated to updating these devices, to supporting these devices. That's why I felt comfortable going back to this, right? Remember, I sold my original one when the news came out they were pulling back. Freaked out a little bit too early, and I was like, man, I really miss that phone. Let me go grab another one. And this is a perfect example of, I think that was a good decision. And if you're considering getting one, I think you should not even worry about them pulling back. I think you need to get the phone if you want that phone and can afford it, and enjoy it, because they can pull back from the world stage but still support their devices. Remember, the OnePlus company technically is not going under. They're just, consolidating and operating out of China and India, but they're still going to issue updates for phones all across the world. Okay. They are going to do that legally. They have to do that. Oppo has merged them with Realme, but the developers are still in house. The developers still go to work each and every day, just like you and I, and continually are working on these updates. So, what if you have an affected device? What do you do, right? I'm sure, again, it's probably a small number of people, but what are we talking about? 1,000, 2,000 people? Maybe. But to be completely honest with you, I have no idea. But let's think about this. So, if you have an affected device, meaning you updated this when they first rolled out and your phone is stuck in a boot loop, there is a flashing tool, and I think you can find it on XDA. If I thought about this before the stream, I would have had everything linked up. I don't want to go scouring through the internet because I got to get off here in a few minutes, but maybe I'll do that for tomorrow's. Maybe I'll do that in the meantime. On tomorrow's live stream, I'll let you know where you can go to download their flashing tool, download the previous operating system, stable build, and flash it through there. Or, yeah, I guess you would have to because you can't get in your operating system. I was going to say you could use OxygenOS Updater, but how are you going to use that if you can't get in your phone? So let me look into that in the meantime. And tomorrow, make sure you subscribe to the channel so when I go live tomorrow, maybe we'll go through that together. If you have an affected device, what you can do to solve it, I guess, right? Let's see here. You should get a OnePlus. Should I get a OnePlus 15? I live in the USA. Will it work? Yes. In fact, I'm using it right now as my phone. So it works, and it works better than any other phone in the United States that you can buy in the United States. I made a video yesterday kind of explaining myself, but yes, it'll work, and it'll work wonderfully. It's such a good phone that not many are for sale. I mean, not many people are getting rid of them. It's better than the Samsung S26 Ultra. It's better than the iPhone 17 Pro Max. It's better than the Pixel 10 Pro XL. I mean, when the Motorola Foldable comes out, obviously, depending on how you look at it, I'm not a big fan of foldables, so I still don't know if I'm going to get one or not, the Motorola Foldable, but what other phone is better? You can't name one, in my opinion. So yes, if you can find a good one at a good price, you can afford it, I say go for it. You're still going to get monthly updates. You're still getting support from the company. Here's the thing with these updates that get pulled. Yeah, there's some people that are affected. But how do they fix it if it's affected, right? Like if you're stuck in a boot loop, how does OnePlus know that you're check this out. Say my OnePlus 15 here, say it was one of the affected devices and I'm in a boot loop. How does OnePlus know? Because what OnePlus is going to do is issue a update that's not going to have that little bug in there that's going to activate a boot loop. It's just going to update as normal and you carry on. But what about the people that have a boot loop? What do? Because they can't turn their phone on. They can't go into their settings and select update and update their phone. How does OnePlus know? Well, I guess they don't, right? Who has a boot loop and who doesn't. So what if you're one of the affected people? Where are the instructions? I think what you're going to have to do, and again, I'm going to look into this when we get off here in a minute, but I think what you have to do is just stay glued to the forums. Now, most of the time you read the OnePlus community forums on your phone, but if it's in a boot loop, you're going to have to stay glued to the forums on a computer or from another device. Because I think they'll issue instructions on how to get your device up and running and fixed. And I imagine they're going to do the flash tool, have you download a zip and plug your phone into it, put it in fast boot mode and flash the zip. I think that's basically what they're going to have people do. But it sucks because there's a lot of people that have never flashed anything on a phone. It's a little intimidating, right? Quite honestly, when you first do that, I could do it with my eyes closed, or at least I could. I haven't done that in a little while, but I used to do it literally every single day. But it's a little intimidating if you've never done that before, right? Because there's always a chance you can break your phone flashing something, right? What if you flash the wrong file? Or what if you don't unzip it first? Or there's a bunch of stuff, right? So I'll look into that here when we get off and see, because kind of head scratching, right? Again, I don't think it was a huge issue. And you got to wonder too, at what percentage, because at how many, what percentage of people that update their phone have to, at what point do they consider it a issue, right? Or is it 1% of the devices that receive the update are boot looped? Is it 5%? Is it 10%? Who knows? It's probably up to each and every manufacturer and their developers or their developer team that, I'm sure they get a lot of response on these forums. That's why these forums are so important, especially with a company not as big as Samsung and or Apple, because when you're selling hundreds of millions of phones a year, I'm sure you're going to hear all sorts of stuff with everything. But when you have, and that's what was so nice about OnePlus, is their own little community. They're more dedicated, more personable, easier to reach out to from somebody like a lead developer for OnePlus than it is trying to reach out to Samsung, right? Now with Samsung, I'm sure you could just do their user support or their chat from their website and you can get somebody. But it's hopefully this fix, I think, who knows? My estimation is that this week they'll issue an update, right? And I can guarantee you they've been working on it all weekend. Hopefully it's sooner than later, but I'm okay with them taking their time. I know I just want them to get it right, but if you're one of the affected people, you want this thing updated ASAP. So I think this week they should probably issue a stable update, right? A stable build of this. I'm hearing that even OnePlus 15S launch might not happen in India. I wanted that one. Yeah, so I don't think it is. Honestly, from what I've been hearing, they're going to separate the two markets. So China will have the flagships, the flagships that continue to come out, including the 16, 16S, 16T, and then the India is going to have the budget phones and or mid-range phones like the Nord series. Now here's the thing, I don't know what they're going to do with the R series, because the R series is attached to the flagship series, right? Like the 1515R or 1616R. Is that R series just going to stick to China in the future, or are they going to release that in India as well? If they release the R series in India, that's going to be our best shot, people in the United States, for getting a OnePlus phone that's as close to a flagship phone as possible, because it'll share some of the similar aspects. Obviously the cameras aren't going to be as good, but it usually has the previous year's flagship specs, right? So if they release the R series in India, maybe worth getting, right? Because look, the Motorola Signature was released in India. When I originally purchased it here, everything worked fine as far as frequencies, your carrier. I got my fingers crossed, but I just, it's probably a little bit too early to tell. Stay tuned, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to look into what to do if you are one of the affected people with this update, right? We got a gentleman here that says, a viewer here that says, hey, he updated his is fine, no problems. And I'm sure there's a fair number of people that did that, but for the couple of people that have bricked phones, I'll look into seeing what you can do now and or when that new update comes in. Because again, you have a brick phone. How are you going to update it, right? So a huge update came out. India this a few days. 16.1 up there. Oh, very nice. I'm going to look into that. I got to go, but I'm going to look into that right now. So stay tuned. I'll look into that and I'll have an answer for you tomorrow, okay? Appreciate the time. Thank you for viewing, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Yeah. Woo.
I just need my space right now.
Fresh off the G5 jet, I'm on my way to a brand new kit.